72-16 through 72-28, and Chapter 115, Articles 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, Sections 115-20, 25, 29, 34, 37, 42, 45, 50, 53, and 58, regarding affordably priced rental units, and the Sussex County Rental Unit SCRP program. This is to announce the receipt of additional written comments.
Thank you. And Mr. Chairman, we received no additional comments. The Commission may remember this from the April 28th and May 12th public hearings, that there have been no additional written comments received from members of the public, although staff would like to note that there is an additional document before you that is submitted to the record. As part of the Commission's discussion at the previous public hearing at the last meeting, there was a request to show the parcel distribution in acres in terms of a breakdown.
Yes.
So before Commission, on your tables in front of you is a written report showing how those 2,521 parcels are broken down in terms of their parcel size. As you can see, the majority of them are under 1 acre, 1,910, which is approximately 75% of all the parcels available are less than 1 acre. And there's nothing in this ordinance that would stop those parcels being consolidated and coming forward. However, if you look at the larger parcels, i.e. those that are within 10 to 50 acres in size, there's 76, which is about 3% of the total. But then if you look at those 50 to 100, there are 12 parcels available that meet that size threshold, and there are 10 that are greater than 100. So as to the question about how many parcels that would be over 10 acres that would potentially benefit, that's approximately 100. But then there's 2,520 approximately parcels that would benefit from the ordinance in terms of its location and design requirements. I don't know if that's helpful, but we put it in the table and that's entered into the public record. So.
Thank you.
On the screen. So I can announce, Mr. Chairman, as well, I don't have a copy of it on the screens to show you, but we were also going back to that original public hearing on April 28th, where we showed those conceptual site plans with the 10-acre model and the larger model. A question had arisen as to the car parking layouts and fire marshal requirements in terms of a walkway around the buildings and whether that affects the setbacks. Staff have been working with AECOM on a design for that, and we actually, as of this week, have received the initial draft of a fully engineered design. So we asked them to design it as you were proposing an application using the same design parameters. I can confirm that has come back, and that drawing has not yet been finalised. I have seen a draft of it. It does show that the setbacks are still achievable with a fully engineered design. Staff's intention with that is that when this progresses forward to County Council is to have that final drawing ready for County Council should we get into site-specific design questions. So, thank you.
So make a motion to close the record.
So is that, the business before us this evening is just simply to announce that we've received the comments, record's closed, and defer until another time?
Yeah, it's next meeting, right?
Well, so if you add, and we don't have this up on the screen?
I don't have it actually.
I think we definitely want it for the record and for those people that are looking on.
Well, it's part of the record. So, I mean, it is whether we get it.
How would they see this?
So we can, because if the Commission chooses not to act on it today, we can upload it to the online paperless packet for this evening's meeting so that it's publicly accessible and viewable.
It might be wise to defer action to allow the public at least the opportunity to see this. And so on.
Yeah, I thought those who are. How hard is it to put it on the screen?
If Mrs. Lepore moves as quickly as I think she's going to move, perhaps a minute or two.
Okay, so basically, it looks like if you start out, if you take 10 acres and greater, then it's the aggregate of 76 at 10 acres, 10 to 50. 50 to 100 is 12, and 100 greater than 100 is 10. 76, 86, 96, 98. So there's 98 possible if the 10 acres and greater, and if we go 5 acres and greater, you add another 73. So that's what, about 170 or something?
Yeah, and I think too, as I'm looking at this, the percentage in the right-hand column is the percentage of the parcels, not the percentage of the acreage, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Percentage of part, yeah. So in
Yeah.
other words, yeah. So basically, yeah, okay, so if we look at the percentages, then that's 3, 6, not quite 7% of the total.
The total number of parcels, but it's
Total number
probably
of
a lot higher of the total
Well, yeah,
acreage.
yeah,
Right,
yeah.
right.
So that's, so if you take, but if we just stick with parcels, what do we say, 170, greater than 5 acres?
Yeah.
About 170. So 170 now, by putting these other sizes in, are we, I guess it would be good if we just kind of work the math just a little bit, and you know, how many units are we going to get on those little pieces that aren't part of the 170 parcels?
Well, we know roughly on the 10-acre ones what we can get based on the exercise that AECom did. So that was, what was it?
It's 120.
120, yeah, because you knew you could get the 12 designed.
So if you're an investor realtor, or even, you know, like us, if we're looking out over a potential market, and there's 170 possibilities, what's the likelihood, what's the percentage of being able to put a deal together? Is it, I mean, everybody's not just going to be everybody's not necessarily going to sell. Some people, don't want to sell property. So,
I don't know how you would
I mean,
determine
but that's always a question,
Yeah,
that's on every rezoning, every
Yeah.
subdivision, everything that we deal
yeah,
with. So,
yeah. I mean, we're basically putting our stock in. The objective here is to try to fix the workplace housing problem.
I think it's going to continue to be a work in progress, because I don't think we're going to be able to fix it all. We can address what we see the problems are in front of us, and try to address them and enhance what they're already doing, which I think Mr. Whitehouse and his staff has been doing a good job of that. We're not going to fix it. It's not going to be the end all, in my opinion.
As we've said, this is one piece
Yeah.
of the big puzzle. There are going to be others. We really can't, you can't force them to do it. You can't force somebody to sell their land. You can't force somebody to develop it. But we are providing some excellent incentives for them to do that, and that's what I think is really important with this. This is a good first step, but it's just the first.
Are you getting that on the screen?
Sure.
All right.
There you go.
There we go.
And Mr. Roberts, did you want to put it on the online packet too?
Oh, yeah, well, definitely. I mean, I think that this is a very important piece of whether or not, how much potential this whole ordinance amendment has. I mean, if you can't secure some of that 170 parcels, it's not going to be very successful. I mean, Mr. Chairman, we can do better than this,
What's the better? I guess that's the question.
Well, I mean, I think that in 2.5 years, we don't even have anything for home ownership yet. When do we think? When are we?
But Mr. Hopkins, why
when are we
would
thinking?
we hold this up to deal with home ownership? That's been the plan the whole time, is to deal with rental first, because we've gotten, one under our belt, and we want to improve it, make it better, and then move to home ownership. The two of those aren't locked together. You said it's 2.5 years, but it sounds like what you're saying is we should delay it even further. I don't. That seems inconsistent to me.
Yeah. Well, I just think that this I think the main thing this is gonna, that this particular ordinance is gonna do is fill the pockets of a few.
Well, here's the concern, and I remember Mr. Ross talked about this when he was chairman of this commission and a commissioner, is, we have seen multifamily projects come in where there's not been any affordable housing component of them, and so in this case, and they've been approved. We had one fairly recently that came in, and I don't want to speak about it because I think it's still in front of county council, I'm not sure, but there wasn't any affordable housing component in that at all, So in that case, developers doing what developers rightfully do, they've got a business model and an economic model and they're building out their development. But Sussex County and its residents aren't getting anything in return. If we do this, based on that LSA model, the developers are looking at the economic and business models of their development, making sure it can work, and then also at the same time, Sussex County and its residents are getting a benefit because we, essentially, they're getting density, we're guaranteed that there's affordable housing. So,
Can we tie it into the maps on the comprehensive plan rather than have it be a moving target? And
it is. It's in the coastal area, town center, and developing area on the maps.
I want it more specific, actually, that, closer into, just because I know we're looking to try to do it with where there's bus stops, but just not a lot of people riding.
Well, I don't think we've addressed that yet.
Well, I mean,
You're
yeah,
right, you're
it's
right,
so
'cause
it's.
there was that, there was also setbacks, and then there was percentage of open space with all things that we wanted to visit when we make a motion, I think.
Okay.
So, yeah, to limit it to I guess that would be my question about the way the table was generated. Are all those the parcels that are on the route, or are those parcels that are just the parcels in that size distribution, right?
So the methodology, which I read out at the last commission meeting, I can read it again. Basically, it's based on location, proximity to transit, whether it's in a developing area, and parcel size.
Okay, so the proximity to transit piece of that, was that defined as on the DART bus route or simply proximity to transit?
Well,
Because
what the ordinance says it has to be half a mile from the DART transit.
Okay, so
it's
and
within
that's what was used to generate this. So it's at least possible that if that gets amended to say on the route or a planned route or something, then you would potentially broaden the number of parcels that would this would be available for.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that was one of the suggestions that came in.
That was a concern of mine, was that to limit it to just where the routes are now. I think you have to consider expanding that to include routes that are contemplated or can be negotiated. In other words, if you can get DART to agree to serve your site, I think that should be an option, because that provides more flexibility. I think it helps address the issue that Mr. Hawkins is concerned about, and I think it would help, and it would probably expand that list a little bit. So, and then I'll still go back to the issue with the buffer and the open space percentages. Why we make them greater than for rental units than we would for anything else.
Well, the reason for that is not because they're rental units.
I know.
It's because
Size.
height and density.
That's right. Well, that's right.
Because you're getting
Okay.
additional height. It's 42,
Right.
you're going up to 52.
52 because of the additional height. All right, well, how about this? What if you said, if you had two options there, one, if you were going with buildings that were more than 42, and something else with less than 42 or less. If it's, I get why you're doing it now.
Yeah, because that tracks actually what's in the RPC section.
I understand,
that
yeah,
transition.
I know it does, and that's what I'm saying, but that would at least give them that flexibility as well, so.
Well, we can come back with proposals on language for that stuff, if you
Yeah,
want.
I mean, I don't think we're ready, I'm not ready to vote necessarily.
Any more discussion, questions, or? So make a motion to close the record and defer for further consideration.
A second.
Moved and seconded to close the record and defer action on the ordinance to amend the Code of Sussex County, Chapter 72, Article 2, so on and so forth, as previously read into the record. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you.